Thank you for visiting West Coast Auto Enthusiast. Today we're featuring a 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser. And if you're not familiar with these, although I'm sure you are if you're watching this video, this was brought back in commemoration of the FJ40, which was discontinued in 1984. That was Toyota's kind of off-road vehicle. It was a Jeep style rig, and very well put together and very capable off-road, and a classic in a lot of people's eyes. A lot of people modified them, so they brought this back in '07. It continues with limited production today, and this is an FJ that's got $13,000 worth of modifications and anything and a lot more than most people would need for off-road. I've got a long list. I'll try and cover most of it. It's a clean title, clean Carfax car with 49,000 miles on it. It's owned by a firefighter who, one, knows what he's doing off-road, and then two, is very meticulous about his stuff. And so it's been very well taken care of. So you've got ion crystal PIA lights up here, as you'll notice. You've got two sets of them. You've got a wireless 9.5 Warn winch in it. You've got, those are Metaltech. It's a Metaltech winch bumper. You'll notice from the underside here, you've got a skid plate that goes all the way back, and you've got a skid plate in the back there. You've got, you can tell, heavily modified front end and rear end on this. So those are, well, you've got a Metaltech. It's a long travel suspension kit with Icon shocks, and then you've also got Total Chaos upper control arms, along with a bunch of others. These are bead locks. If you're not familiar with bead locks, they're a two-piece wheel that allow you to almost take all of your air pressure out of your tire so that you can crawl up and over things. Those are, it's a 35 1250 R17, and those are trail readies. So you can see the fender wells have been cut away. These typically have a plastic or rubber fender well on them. Those have been cut away to so that the wheel travel is not limited. You'll also notice the September 11th fireman sticker on that car. One of the impressive things about this is this thing just got back from Moab in Colorado, and there's not a dent or a scratch on it, and that's an impressive feat in Moab if you've been there. It was also at an FJ Cruiser event and did very well. It was actually in some other areas that most FJs wouldn't take part in. So you've got also you've got a rock slider here. Those are Metaltech, along with the bumpers, front and rear. You've also got a ARB Safari snorkel on this thing. So very well put together. You've got parking sensors in the back. You've got a sensor on each corner, and then you've got a sensor here and here. And you've got a trailering package or a tow hitch. I'll show you underneath here all the space. So pretty well put together, custom fit exhaust. Yeah, you've got an oversized spare tire and an auxiliary gas tank. You've got a high lift jack. You've got a CB. There's your antenna. You also got a safari rack on the top. So super clean rig. FJ rubber mats all throughout the rig. He's had the front two seats reupholstered in leather. He hardwired a Nuvi Garmin system in it, a navigation system that also sports a Bluetooth. So that's nice. You've got a fire extinguisher, of course, just for safety features. You've got a CB, as I mentioned. So there's been a ton of work done on this, and a very, very capable rig. So one of the nice thing about this is it's a highway car. It's incredibly capable off-road, and then it's comfortable. So it's, you know, in comparison to the FJ40, these, you know, this is a far cry from sitting in an FJ40 cruising down the road with a V8 in it and a suspension system. These are pretty good highway cars if you haven't driven them. You've got an anti-glare pad across the hood here. I think I've about covered the. You've also got wheel spacers and JL Audio speakers in this thing, so the stereo's been upgraded. I've got a cheat sheet here, which I don't usually have to do, but there's no way I was going to remember all this stuff. Oh, you also have an upgraded battery. It's a GRP glass matte solid start battery, so that's nice. As I mentioned, leather seats as opposed to the cloth, and it's hard to see in the back of this thing because there's not a lot of light, but I mean, there's never even been anyone in the back seat. As a matter of fact, he had the back seat. He took the back seat out so they could travel and put camping gear in here. So As you can see, the door panels, all that stuff in very, very good shape. And let me start this up and show you some gear on it real quick. So as I mentioned, you got a CB in here in the center console. If you're familiar with these, you've got a transfer case. You've got, let me turn the lights on. So you've got, you have A-Track, you've got a rear differential lock, which is an additional piece of equipment here. There's your parking sensors. You've got air conditioning, of course. You've got an auxiliary jack and a CD player, which is a stock stereo system. You've got this was an optional piece of equipment. You've got a compass with an external temperature gauge and an altimeter here. And then, as I mentioned, you've got the Garmin Nuvi with Bluetooth that's hardwired in, so that's nice. It's you've got no cords or anything. It runs off the battery. As you can see, the dash, all the interior stuff is in very, very good condition. No signs of wear and tear on any of that stuff. Multi-function steering wheel. You've got intermittent wipers, driving lights, fog lights. You'll see the two PIA toggles here on the left-hand corner. Power mirrors, locks, all that standard stuff. 49,872 miles on it. It's all current on its service. Doesn't need anything done as far as work goes. It's ready to roll. So, anyways, a very, very capable FJ Cruiser. Kind of the off-road version of these things, and very well put together and very clean. So it hasn't been off-road a lot. He's Moab and the trip down to Colorado were the last two trips he took, and did everything that FJ Cruisers were capable of, and just said that was enough, and he's going to move on to something else. So anyways, if you've got questions or would like additional information, please feel free to contact us, and we can be reached at 503-227-2354. Thank you for visiting West Coast Auto Enthusiast.